What's going on, everybody? Good evening. Welcome to Hex Grassroots. This is Hex Grassroots number 21 with special guest Marco the HEXican. I am your host, Hex Misha on Twitter. And as always, I am joined by my co-host, Meister Hex. How are you doing, man?
Hey guys, what's going on? Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Thank you, Hex Misha. I'm doing wonderful. Pretty thrilled
Awesome.
for today's episode with Marco. Typical grassroots, working hard all his life. I'm really excited to hear his story.
Yeah, he's pretty well known. I saw him, he was in Vegas, so I'm looking forward to hear from that. And before we bring him on the stream, I think you have a couple of topics to cover.
Yeah, I mean, testnet version 2B is live, so that's pretty exciting. Also, we had a very nice Twitter space in which Richard Hart participated for a couple of hours. So there were a couple of good nuggets there as well.
But not as many Bitcoin people joined as we thought there would. I think only one real Bitcoin defender joined the space. Other than that, a lot of HEXicans. I think 1.5k plus people.
Yeah, that's solid.
Quite a lot. Yeah.
Let's bring Marco on and ask him what he thinks about it.
Okay, let's do it. So today's guest, Marco the HEXican. Welcome, brother. Thank you for being here with us tonight.
Hey, Marco, how's it going?
Bro, your mic is still muted. Hope you can hear us.
How about now? Does that sound all right?
Yeah, we hear you. Welcome.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Perfect. Fellas, thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure, man. I love what you guys do. The way you guys do these interviews and bring like every different parts of the community, just to see their story and where they came from, where they're going, stuff like that. It's phenomenal. So I really appreciate that, man.
Thank you, man.
Thank you. It's great to hear it from you, especially Marco. And yeah, we try to contribute, of course, as much as we can. I think it's what makes Hex Grassroots special is that we try to have only one guest to focus on him or on her, with two moderators. So there's no escape for the guest.
No, that's great. It's a nice focused way of doing things, and just getting deep dive of the conversation, and it's a different aspect. You don't really see many people do this, so I enjoy that.
Awesome, appreciate it.
Awesome that you like it. And one thing to add, we have a lot of great guests, and it's like we're not running out of good guests because there's so many great HEXicans. Everyone has a story. Last time, man. Dolo, a big story.
Dolo's a blast, man. Oh man, I got stories for days for Dolo.
Yeah, awesome. I heard he paid. You owe him a taxi drive. Yeah.
Oh yes, man. Yes. Yeah. He's definitely beautiful company to be around. There's many HEXicans. When he was at Vegas, just hanging out, having a blast all day to 3-4 o'clock in the morning, just partying, having a good time, sharing stories. Just basking in the ambience. It was a beautiful moment.
Amazing. So you guys, you met Dolo during the Vegas event?
Yeah. So he was there. Many people was there. I was there for like about a week or so. I know a lot of people was there a little longer, a little shorter. But yeah, man, after the conference or so, we all met up at night. Like every other night was like a different place where hundreds of HEXicans would like meet up and have fun and chill. And yeah, man, let me just say this, that guy could party, man. He does not stop.
Nice. Amazing. Yeah. And from what I saw, the parties were like in private suites of the host.
Yeah. So there was two private parties we had. There was one run by Freddie Coates, a phenomenal guy, beautiful human being, right? Meet him in person, you'll fall in love right away. And then Nagabo had another penthouse party that was pretty fun. So all in all, it was like back-to-back parties. It was phenomenal, man. The people that showed up, the guests, it was really good.
Amazing. And the party which was hosted by Freddie Quotes, was it the one where there was some live rap going on, where you shared some videos?
I'm not sure if it was that one. It might have been the Nagabo party, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah,
Nice.
because there was so Freddie Coates was in a particular hotel. I think not the MGM. I think it was the Luxor, I think, hotel. I think it's called the one that's like the pyramid shape.
Yeah.
That's where it was. And then we had like a whole bunch of OGs there, and that was a beautiful event. Different. By the way, first of all, that penthouse was freaking huge, man. It was like room after room after room after room, like, and you thought there was not another. There was another room, and it was just phenomenal. But yeah, man,
Nice.
it was beautiful to see everybody hanging around, playing pool, talking, getting to know each other more. And it was just like every second felt like a celebration, right? Regardless of what price did, whatever it was like people were there just to meet each other. And it was just a beautiful thing. And then the next day, right, I felt like Freddie's Cold Party was more of a interaction type of party, right? Like you sat down, you share your journey with each other, all that stuff. And then Nagabo Party, everybody was just dancing, singing, rapping, and having a good time. Just to kick off the ending of the Vegas event. But it was beautiful, man. It was phenomenal, very fun.
Awesome. That sounds really cool. And I mean, this is a very good example for the strength of the Hex community, because we always hear it, like what is very important for a project or a product or cryptocurrency in general is its community.
Of
And
course.
even though the market is down 75%, still a couple of hundred people at their own cost meet on site, right? Organizing events, keynotes, parties, and this just shows how strong the community is, even during deep dips, right?
Yep, absolutely, right. And talking about community, right? So I was speaking with Jim Rad and these guys, and even yesterday I was on another show called the Worst Crypto Show with the hosting of Hexter Morgan. And we talked about community, right? We talked about especially these live gatherings, how beautiful and how it's important for folks to meet up and stuff. Because at the end of the day, it's like we could be here all day, every day, and be on streams and on Twitter and all that stuff. But what's more really important is when you finally meet these people in person, you shake hands, you give hugs, you have dinner with, you have a beer with. It's phenomenal, right? Like it's a beautiful feeling when you sit there and you can say, well, this is a person I've been chatting with nonstop all year. Oh, shout out to Bitfinesse, man. That guy's a genius, man. I love him. Right.
Yeah.
Like that's another HEXican that's phenomenal. Like people, just to know his story, what he's doing, and then the type of risk that he took and what he continues to do is another type of level. Like I like that guy a lot. Like really, really smart. Right. But it's important, right? The community is important to meet with each other because at the end of the day, it's validation, right? So when I went to Vegas, and I said it in the stream yesterday, right? Like I've been doing this Twitter thing since Hex started, and going on streams and helping people out and joining streams, all that stuff, right? And it felt good, right? It felt good for me and stuff like that. And a lot of people, they DM me, tell me it helps them and they love the stories or they love the interactions I do with them and stuff like that. But sometimes do you really believe it or do you don't, right? And then you need validation. So when I went to the Hex conference the second time, to me, it was more a validation for myself. It's to show, okay, this is it, right? Like I'm going to go there. I'm going to meet all these people again. And I want to see if my story or what I do, my journey, does it truly impact folks, right? Or do I need to work harder? Or do I need to, be careful what I say, how I move, how I do things? Like I need validation. And then when I got there, and man, the community is beautiful, man. The emotions, the inspiring things they tell you, their stories is like, it brings tears to your eyes, man. I remember every night, just after we finished partying, all that stuff, my best friend came with me to Vegas, and we'll spend the whole hour before we went to sleep. And I go to my room, he goes to his room. We'll just recap and the whole day. And he will see almost there's tears in my eyes almost every night, because the journey of every single person I got to finally meet in person again, and for them to line up literally 20, 10, 15, 20 people waiting just to shake your hand and tell you their story back to back nonstop. It's a validation, man. It shows that everything you have done, it matters, and you got to take it another level. You got to be careful what you say, because people are listening. People do care what you say. And, you hear words have power, and it truly does, because, when you see, and I was laughing because I even had guys that, UFC type of bodies, tall, big, strong, broad looking guys, and they have tears in their eyes saying, yo, dude, what you did all year changed my life or helped me decide this and that. And it's like, wow. Right? Like, when do you really get to see that or say that? Right? So it's
Cool.
beautiful. Community is very important, man. It's very important, especially these
Yeah.
meetups.
Very beautiful set. Thank you for sharing
Yeah.
this.
you.
Absolutely. When we went to the London party, we felt the same
I
same
wish I was
vibe.
there.
I was really good, man. Like nobody was like a drama queen or something. Everybody was open
Yeah.
to network. Even though you bumped into a group, you know, everybody was welcoming you. Hey,
Yeah.
join the
Exactly.
conversation. No egos. Even with the
Introducing themselves,
Yep.
like really open,
Yep.
really inclusive. Like I even feel weird that I was surprised about it, but I was actually surprised how warm and nice and chill everyone was. Like you could literally go up to everyone and no one
Yep.
would look at you like, oh, why is this guy talking to me, or who is this? Like everyone was open, and I never seen this before in a party or in a nightclub, to be honest.
Exactly, right? Like usually people, they have their own little posses. They're in the corner or hanging out around the wall,
Yeah.
around the bar.
Trying to be
Nah,
edgy
man.
and cool.
If you do that in a Hex conference, man, the whole crowd is gonna come after you and bring you back to the
Yeah.
party. Like this is how people are, right? They're so
Yeah,
welcoming, and
awesome.
it's a phenomenal feeling. You know, it's like you said earlier, you hit it right on the nail. There's no egos. There's no, hey, I'm this level, you're this level, you're new, but I'm an OG. Nah, man. Everybody's equal. Everybody parties. Everybody has a great time. Everybody shares dinner and stories with each other, and it is just beautiful, man. It was just like, it's like I said, once again, it was validation, right? And me leaving Vegas the second time around, it was like, okay, this is beyond more real than I ever expected. It's time to get to work. Like it's time to hustle more than ever. It's time to
This
step
gave
up
you
my
a push, yeah?
game. Yeah, it's like to step up my game, help as many people as I can, help to step up their game. Like we got things to do, and and I'm ready for that, right? And that's why, like, I left Vegas with like a chip on my shoulder, but not like in a cocky way, but more of a passionate way, right? To say like, all right, I'm ready for this world. To like throw whatever you got at me. Like I'm here to stay. I'm here to help out as much as I can, and it's beautiful, man.
Nice, man. And
yeah, I'm
if
jealous you
we
guys
get-
made it to London, man. That's
yeah, but we
awesome,
didn't
dude.
do Vegas, you know. It's like
Yeah.
we could only have one.
Yeah, but you
It
get to
was-
party with like Richard and these guys, you know, it's awesome.
Yeah,
But I wouldn't
true.
trade it for anything. Like the people I enjoyed my company with in Vegas is like, I would never forget these folks, right? It was a beautiful event. It was beautiful.
Awesome.
And when you left, it was like, okay, next year we do the same, or
Oh
what was
yeah.
the
Oh yeah.
sentiment?
I think well, I'm not sure if Maddie's gonna keep on doing it or not. That's really up to him. But regardless, whoever runs it, I know like HEXican's gonna start building things, right? I know they're gonna start doing their own conferences and their own meetups and stuff like that. Like we have PulseCon coming up, I believe around September, I think 6th to 9th or something like that. That's another event, right? And then a few months later after that, there's probably gonna be the Hex online conference, and then probably Vegas again. So I think that's gonna be like something we all do. You know, it's gonna be fun.
Nice. Sounds really good. You know, actually, when I watched you guys on YouTube and Twitter, I got really interested in Vegas. I never been there, and I started to watch all these videos. And you wouldn't believe how many YouTube vloggers there are only about Vegas. You know, the
so much,
hotels,
dude.
the
So
restaurants,
much.
the buffets. And I got really into it. And then I was like, I really want to go to Vegas and see these hotels for real and be there and party. You know, it would be so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
I mean,
when I was like looking for hotels and like, okay, where do I want to stay, stuff like that, you hit it right on the nail, man. There's literally so many people that they dedicated to is like the restaurants as there, the shows to go there, which hotels look the best, which suites give you the best deal. Yeah, man, there's a market for that, and people watch that stuff. You know, it's weird, but it happens.
Yeah, the offer is just overwhelming, and yeah, I think you can have good fun.
Marco, you mentioned before, you have a lot of energy. You know, you're pumped, you're motivated, positive vibes. But it was not always like that. I remember you were mentioning when you were younger, you were homeless. I wanted to maybe touch upon that a little bit.
Sure.
Do you mind to share your story a little bit?
Yeah, I don't mind that, man. I think it's important for people to hear everybody's story, right? Because you get to relate to certain folks. You never know who went through what in life, right? So, yeah, man. I was always so during that time when I ended up being homeless for like about 7 weeks and stuff on my own, it was just basically me, my stepdad, my mom, and my 2 brothers and 2 sisters, and I was always like that, the outsider child, right? Like I got along with my siblings and stuff, but I never really connected very well with my parents. I didn't grow up with a father. I didn't have an older brother. So everything was always self-taught for me, right? And, during time growing up, I wasn't the golden child. I wasn't a bad child. I wasn't the golden child though. And me and my stepfather would used to clash all the damn time, like all the damn time. And I think it was more of a, man in the house, versus type of thing. And we'll clash to the point that at times he got abusive, and back then we call it tough love, right? But it happened, and oh, thanks, JR. I'll hit you up after. And over time, first it became verbal, then it started becoming physical and clashing, and then I was always being grounded all the damn time for no reason and stuff like that, and it affected the way I did things and how I moved, and it got to the point where I couldn't touch anything in my house. I really couldn't do much. And it got to the point where, like, if I tried to touch the TV and stuff like that, it was like, hey, if you pay for that TV, no, all right, don't touch it until you start paying the bills and stuff like that. Cool. So I was like, all right, fine. I used to make my money when I was younger like that. I used to do Craigslist all the time. So I used to, hustle on Craigslist, buy whatever and make whatever, mod Xboxes, all that stuff. Nice. And I was like, fine, if I can, if I had to buy something, to use something in this house, I had to buy it, fine. So I bought my computer, bought my TV, bought my own Xbox. I did that all like in almost like in a week, right? And I hustled, and then I guess when he saw that, like, it was like a shock to him. Like, damn, this fucking kid. I try to like not let him enjoy himself, and he still bought all these things to go against what I say. Like,
nice.
Because I'm prideful. I'm a prideful guy, right? Like, if you're gonna tell me I can't do it, all right, cool. I'm gonna make sure like I hustle my ass to get my own TV or stuff like that. So one day I came home and like all my stuff is trashed. My computer's not working. It's busted. Like, I was forced to sell certain things, and I could have taken no more. And it was like, it got worse and worse and worse that, it's sad to say that I felt like one day I was going to kill the guy. Don't get me wrong. Like, right now we have a beautiful relationship. Like, we worked it out. I love that guy to that now. But back then, like, I think at that night I decided to leave my parents' house. If I didn't, I would have slit his throat or something. Like, it got that bad that I had to leave. Right. It was either that or I cannot make my mom choose, because I couldn't support the rest of the family. I was too young. Right. And I was not going to make my mom be a single mom again and had to raise the kids all over again herself. I cannot do that to her. Right. So I was like, I had to decide to leave. So I packed up all my stuff, and then I was in Brooklyn. I'm still in Brooklyn now. And during that time, I just go and, I made the decision to, to move out. And I slept at a couple of my friends' house the first week or two, here and there and stuff like that. But you only could do that for so long, right? Before it becomes awkward for them, or they start wondering what's happening. And you never know. You don't want to share too much information because then they call child services and all this other crap. And, you don't want the drama. Like, I cannot affect my mom and my other brothers and sisters. So, and there was one place where I used to grow up. I used to always play handball, and me and my friends used to always grow up. It's a park in Fort Hamilton, like 53rd Street. And it's a place I used to just love being around. And yeah, man, that's the place I basically called home for 7 weeks. And I slept in the bathtub, not in the bathtub, in the public bathroom, and or depending on the playground, they're like under the playground it was built differently. It was more structured. I would sleep there and hang, do whatever I got to do there. And yeah, man. And when I say like, 15, 16-year-old in Brooklyn during that time is not easy. People think you go to the parks now, they look like they look amazing, right? They look beautiful. They're high end, high tech. Nah, not like that back then, right? Like, they were rats. They were all that. They were dirty. Like, it was Brooklyn back then. And yeah, man, I had to eat out the garbage at times and beg for dollars and money. And I would have to compete. I used to go and, like, call them some of my friends here and there, like, hey, listen, do you mind, something happened in my house? Make up stories, the pipe broke, this happened. Can I take a shower in your house? And I had good friends back then, and not a lot of people knew what happened to me. They're, yeah, come over, take a shower. I go eat a quick meal over there. That was like my getaway, Right, but then I'm back in, in the park, and I used to play handball like crazy. I used to play people for money and stuff like that, whatever I could do to survive. And yeah, man, those 7 weeks were, I would say, felt like 7 years, right? Especially to a kid that age. You're like, you never know. You're confused in life. You see people living the happy life around you, and you're going through this type of shit, and you ask yourself why, right? Even to the point, I think I'm around the 5th or 6th week of me being homeless. Like, at one point I wanted to take my own life, right? Like, I overdosed in a couple of like random medications that these other guys that was around me had, and I cracked the bottle and had it close to my neck. Like, I was done with life, man. Like, I was like, I don't want to be here anymore, right?
Damn.
But then I forgot exactly how it happened, where it was just that one night where just like everything changed. My feeling, the way I thought about myself, my future. Like, is this it? During that time I was with my wife. I met my wife when I was 8 years old. Started dating when I was 14, and she didn't even know what I was going through that time because I hid it from her, you know. And she was, I think there at the time she was going to Long Island, and I hid all that from her. She had no idea, right? And I thought to myself, like, do I want to let all this go, right? And something spoke to me, man. Like, I'm not a religious person, I'm more spiritual, and something inside of me told me, like, nah, you got to keep on. Like, there's something out there for you. Like, life will change for you. Like just don't give in. And I don't cry much in life, but I think that night, I cried. I get emotional talking about it now. Like, I think that night I cried like the most I ever cried in my life, right?
Oh wow.
Yeah, man. It's like it was one of those moments where it was like I felt like I spoke to God, right? I felt like I spoke to like my guardian angel, something there that told me like, yo, you got this. Like, you're stronger than this. Don't give up on life, stuff like that. And then, a week, 2 weeks later, a couple of friends figure out like what was happening with me, and they took care of me, they helped me out, and I never looked back then. And I moved in with my wife's parents, and they gave me a roof over my head, and they raised me the right way, and it was really beautiful, man. It's something I will never forget.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Awesome. This is a huge story, man.
Yeah, and then that night, like, I think that night when I decided, like, okay, I need to snap out of this. Like, I need to get my life back. Like, I made a promise to myself. I told myself, one day I will make it in life where I will never, ever let the next man decide the next 3 seconds of my life, because that's basically what my stepfather did, right? Like, he basically controlled every 3 seconds of my life. Like, when I was in the house, every little thing, what are you doing? This, blah, everything, right? And I told myself, never again I will let somebody do that to me. And one day I will be able to be in that position. And thank God for, I did very well in crypto in the past and internet marketing, all that stuff. But when I met this community and when I heard the voice of reasoning of Richard Hart, and I made it, man. Like, I made a promise to my wife when I was younger all the time, and we always laughed at her. Like, around 30 years old, I'll be a millionaire, blah, blah. And, I was literally in my promise. By 33, I did it. And I'm 34 now, right? So
nice.
No man could tell me what to do in my life the next 3 seconds of my life. And I'm going to make sure for my kids that never happens too. So that's why I did what I did. Yeah.
That's an intense story. Awesome. Thank you for sharing.
One question, Marco. You mentioned you're cool now with your stepdad.
Yeah. So, like,
is in your life?
Yes. So, we let bygones be bygones. Over time, you have to understand, right?
He had to apologize, right?
Of course.
I mean, he's been pretty abusive to a child, basically.
Yeah. It wasn't abusive to the point where, like, he was beating me, but it was more of like it's weird, right? I'm Puerto Rican, I'm Spanish. We grew up in a different age, right? Like, now, if you see like parents smacking their kids around, yelling at them, stuff like that. Now, people call child services instantly. But back then, that was like tough love, right? That's like, that's our culture, our community. This is usually what we do, right? Was it to that extent? No, right? But we did. But over time, I matured. I understand why sometimes I got in trouble. Why, I might have got smacked around here and there, etc. Does it make up for everything? No, it does not, right? But yeah, over time, we grew up, we grew, we connected, and now I could consider him my dad, right? Like, I love the guy to death now, right?
Okay.
Awesome. But back then, like, my eyes, that was the devil, right? Like, that's how I viewed it, right? And I noticed, like, over time you just learn, right? And like, right now, if you give me a call, I'll do anything for him, right? Because I understand the position he was in. He was young, he was younger than my mom, and it's not, and I gotta give him props too. It's not easy raising three kids that's not yours, and the 2 kids are, right? So it's like literally 5 kids, and that, to do that, you got to be a man too. It's not easy. And I don't know what he went through behind the scenes and stuff like that, because we didn't talk like that, right? You never know what's going through. Any given moment, he could want to walk away from everything. You never know, right? So, you got to give him that type of respect too. And over time, I understood that. And, now we're great buddies, where we talk here and there and stuff like that. I even made a steak for him and stuff like that. So,
nice.
Right.
5.
Yeah, a little less than that, but yeah, right.
Awesome.
For him, because I want him to enjoy money early. He's around 40 40, close to 50ish, almost something like that. So I want to make sure, like, he gets to enjoy life too. Because at the end of the day, he did help me raise my mom, help my mom out, raise my brother and sisters, and over the years, he done very well for them too. So. The way I look at it is like, it's a, you might have been the devil for me in the beginning, but you was a blessing in some way, somehow, for my rest of my family members, So I don't hold grudges like that. So that's just me.
That's good for you also.
Yeah, and it's good because it's more of a blessing and cleansing of my soul and my mindset, right? Because if I could sit here and still hate that person all day, every day, did I really improve my life? Did I really make it? No, I didn't, right? Like you gotta learn when to let go and when to move on. And I moved on.
Nice,
Awesome.
nice.
Awesome.
And you're
Yeah.
still in Brooklyn, yeah?
Yeah, I'm
You
still in
grew up in
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn,
Yeah,
NYC?
man. Been
Nice,
Brooklyn
man.
boy all my life. NYC, and
But OG, yeah, not the gentrified Brooklyn
nah,
style, but
man.
OG style, yeah.
OG, man. Like
Nice, man.
old school type of Brooklyn, and
Good
I
stuff.
seen Brooklyn where it was hell to where it's getting better now, and I seen it all, done it all. Seeing all the gangs when the gangs was like the biggest thing out there, and the fights. I used to see all that shit. So
Yeah, 90s was pretty bad, right?
oh yeah, man.
Crime-wise
Oh
in
yeah.
NYC, and then it
Oh yeah.
got really good, but it
Yeah,
used to
it's
be
still
like,
up in the air, but it's way better than it used to be. Like that's like night and day experience, right? Right now
okay.
it's more of the restrictive of the COVID crap, but besides that, it's it's gotten better. Like the schools looking better. Like we're talking about like the layouts, the schoolyards, they're more high tech. They're more for for the how you say for the physical activities for the kids. The
Equipped,
playgrounds
yeah.
are more up to date, more safe. Like back then, you play at a playground, man, you better expect to break a leg, right? Like they were built really shitty, Now they're, now they're more up to, up to date. So
Yeah, yeah. And
Right.
one more thought that I had when you told your story, like the 7 weeks, I really hope, or I assume they weren't in winter, because winter can get really harsh in
oh, dude,
NYC.
it was a more of, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the time it was literally after a little bit after summer, so I would say about fall. So, but if you know New York City, right? At night it gets really cold quick, and one day you have like how you say it, you have a tornado. Next day you have a hurricane. Next day it's snowing. Next day it's sunny. Like you can never predict the New York City weather. So yeah, it was. There were times where it was really shitty, and when it rains, it rains. So when it rained, if I didn't get in time to, and the thing is, back then you hope that the park sweeper, there's always have those people that's the agents that's in charge of the parks that they got to make sure it's clean, maintain and stuff like that. Sometimes you hope the guy never comes at night because sometimes if you never make it in time, if a lot of homeless folks don't crowd that area, the public bathroom, he won't lock it. So he would be forced to leave it open because, of course, he can't lock people in there. But there was some nights where, yeah, he finished his shift, locked it, and you didn't make it in time, and you had to sleep on the bench. And then there was times where it was raining, and you had cardboard box, you had whatever you could do to cover yourself and make sure like you're okay for that night. So there was, I think the third or fourth week, I got really sick because like it was raining a couple of times, and you're not eating really right. So your body's not really functioning. Your mind's really not really functioning. You're a little dehydrated. The stress level. Yeah. That's last part. Right. And, it messes with you, and then, like people don't realize you start hallucinating a little bit and you start going through things and weird thoughts start going through your head. And yeah, man, it's not a fun experience. So when I hear folks come up with these type of stories, like I listen very closely because it's like, a lot of people around you don't realize it goes through shit. And a lot of people didn't know I went through that, right? A lot of people thought I had a fairy tale life from beginning to end. Nah, man, it's not the truth, right? And, just because I might speak well here and there, or I might hold myself to a certain accountable, it doesn't mean that I didn't go through shit. And doesn't mean I'm better than anybody. Everybody goes through shit. There's people that's been homeless a year, 2 years longer than me, 10 years longer than me. Like people go through things, right? That's why I tell folks, like, don't take things for granted. Don't take relationship for granted or people for granted because you don't know what they went through, or you don't know the journey or the knowledge they have after that, right? So, it's a beautiful thing.
I think it also helps when you are into like silly arguments or discussions with, I don't know, your neighbor or somebody on the street, that you remind yourself, hey, everybody struggles with something, and then it's way easier for you to just let it go.
Absolutely. Especially neighbors, right?
Yeah.
You can see them have a nice fancy car, nice this, nice that. But that's all materialistic, right? That's all like it's like life is one big avatar, right? Like all the clothes we wear, all the jewelry we wear, all the cars it's all a front. It's all a materialistic thing, but you don't see what the person goes through in the inside when they close their doors. You don't see what happens in the house. You don't see what happens in the office and stuff like that. So, some people have to stop judging people. Yeah.
Fights.
Yeah.
Yeah, and moving on, how did you go to school then? Finish school?
Yeah. Well,
I
I was going back to school during that time. Like after that, I had my break. The school accepted me a little bit, but I was never, be honest with you, I was never a school guy per se because I enjoy certain teachers and certain professors I had, all that stuff, but I got so bored of it, right? Like I ended up dropping out of school young. And do I regret it? I regret it for my record, but I don't regret it for the experience because it was just weird, man. It's weird to say this, but I was way smarter than a lot of people around me. A lot of the students, a lot of my classmates, like while they were talking about regular stuff, I was thinking about outside grown stuff already. You know, I was thinking about when they think about regular stuff and just, you know, learning about history books. I was interested in what's happening in the stock market. I was interested in what's happening in the real world and this and that. And I knew
Yeah.
like majority of stuff I was going to learn, 90% of it I was never going to ever use again. And to the point
Yeah.
where it just got too boring for me that like I just walked away from it, you know, and I ended up getting my GED at a later age. I felt like that wasn't important too at one point because all the jobs I was getting, and like, you know, when people saw like my resume, they still gave me a chance. I sat down and I crushed it. Like I destroyed these interviews. I destroyed, you know,
Nice.
my work ethic. And then, you know, there was no way they would not hire me type of things. And so I never needed like, even with jobs that they require like 3 or 4 years of college, stuff like that, I would show up, sit down, I will flip the interviewer, you know, the interview to become the interviewer. So like when I interview, right, the way I do things is, you know, I interview folk, they interview whatever, but I always have like a nice notepad and I will have about good 10 to 12 questions to answer back to the interviewer, right? And a lot of people don't do that, right? You know, when they ask you like,
Yeah.
hey, you have a couple of more, you know, is there anything you want to ask me? Most 90% of people say, no, I don't have anything. Thank you. You know, and then that's it. It's
Yeah.
over. I'm like, yeah, now it's my turn to become the interviewer, right? So you put them in the hot seat, you make them feel a little bit uncomfortable and stuff like that. And a
Yeah.
lot of times they come out to me, they're like, you know, I never had that experience. You know, what, are you free to try out the job for like a week? I'm like, yeah, let's do it, you know? And I would do
Nice.
things like that, right? So, yeah. So long story short, yeah, I didn't finish school. Did get my GED. I'm self-taught in everything in life, right? When it came to coding, when it came to computers, when it came to just everything, salesman, retail, like everything. And like one of the biggest things I used to do before even crypto, I used to do internet marketing. That was self-taught for me. Like I always self-taught for everything, like even shaving, like when I was growing up, like everything. Like nobody really taught
Yeah.
me much, you know? And
Nice.
yeah.
Nice. That's pretty cool. And so you mentioned internet marketing. Was this, you could say, your
Yeah.
profession before you got into
Yeah, yeah.
crypto?
So I was, of course, I was still doing retail as my regular 9 to 5, but on the side, so I joined crypto around 2015, but before then, for a good about 4 or 5 years, so something like that, I was doing internet marketing. So the way I was doing it was back then, like the biggest thing before like ads was like the next biggest thing. It was basically ClickBanks, right? So I'll go to a certain website. There'll be a list of products that people will offer. So they say you're selling, I don't know, a water bottle, right? You want to sell it for $50, but the commission on it was maybe $10, right? So what I did, and what my partner back then, my boy Kevin back then, right? He scammed me, by the way, right? I'll tell you the story. What we did was basically we built it's called like an emailing list, right? Autorespond list or something like that, if you want to call it. So we built it to almost close to, I think it was like a close to almost 180K people, right? There's a lot of people back then, right? But it wasn't hard because everything was through emails back then, right? Like when you communicated, it was through email. You know, when people wanted to do things, they went to certain websites. So, you know, we built that type of list. We got really good at it. We built an autorespond list. So let's say you want to sell that product, fine. You give it to me. I will send it to that emailing list. Those people will get about anywhere from 1 all the way to maybe 12 different emails spread out maybe every 2-3 days, trying to convince the person into the product, right? It's like you got a fishing line and you're trying to reel them in and reel them in. So every email they got every other day was a way to convince them to buy the product. And we got so successful at this that, you know, the average person, like just average, if you got anywhere from like 8%, 3%, 5% conversion rate, you did very well for yourself. Man, there was one point, like our average was good, like 10, 12% here and there. But at one point, man, we was doing 20 to 30% conversion rate. And remember, that's against 180,000 people. And some of these commissions was paying out 10, 15, some of them was paying $50, you know?
Wow.
So we was like, and I was young, man. We was just making bread left and right. And it was almost like too good to be true, like too easy, because it was like, oh, dude, all you had to do was like, once you have your list, and it's like you're training your list, right? You had to, and it's harsh to say, you have to train your list like they're your pets, right? You get that dog, they're gonna piss everywhere, they're gonna shit everywhere, anything like that. But you train them over time. So it's like you condition these folks to trust you, to like you, all that stuff. And then you start with the products here and there. And don't get me wrong, like the products we were selling these folks, they cared for. Like, these are what they searched for. Like, if somebody was trying to lose weight, I found the best losing weight product, and I made sure like I funneled it down to these folks, right? And they wanted to learn how to make money. Well, I found the best making money product, whatever it was at that time, and I funneled it down to these folks, you know? And yeah, man, this was like the biggest hustle we had. And then when it all came crashing down was when my partner Kevin back then, I was too trusty, right? You have to understand, like, I was growing up, we're making money together and stuff like that. We had we shared the same email address, same everything. And one day, man, I logged in, and you know, and I would never think he would do that, because we were so young, we were making so much money together. It was like, bro, like, we was living life. Like
Nice.
how much more
Yeah.
money did you want at that moment, you know, to rip off your during that time your best friend, right? And you know, we were making so much money to the point. At one point, I logged in. I couldn't log in. I was like, "What's going on?" I called him, texted him, no response. He took that whole list and disappeared, man. And never spoke to him ever again. Like,
Oh, damn it, man.
and that
Crazy.
took like man, how long, that took at least a year and a half to build that list. And remember, back then the internet is not how it is now. There's no Twitter. Like, I don't even think at that time. I'm not sure, was MySpace around? I don't even think MySpace was around yet. I think it might have been, right? And like, it wasn't that, like, you didn't have this way to reach out to that many people. So it took time.
Right.
Like, I had to pay people for their list. So like, if somebody had an emailing list, right? You hit them up, hey, listen, I heard you had an emailing list of 50,000 people. You know, I'm willing to give you, you know, $15,000, $10,000, $5,000.
Right.
But before I do, hey, I want to test out a product or emailing list. Just, I want to see their conversion rate. Let me see how good it is. You know, let's do a campaign. Show me the truth. Because remember, a lot of people make phony emailing lists. It's like dead emails, right? So you got to make sure like these things are true. So we did that in the past, and yeah, man, it was just a fucking killing, man. But yeah, one day I woke up and he disappeared on me, man. You know, and that was heartbreaking. Like I felt like, oh my God, here we go again. Like, it's gonna happen to me again. But then I snapped out of it, thank God. And then, you know, crypto came 2015. I joined it. It came around 2010. Of course, I didn't know anything about it. I was busy doing my own thing. Two of my buddies were doing crypto 2015. You know, I didn't go heavy in it. I was dabbling a couple of things, bought some things, you know, being a common trader here and there. I still didn't believe in it. Then 2016 came, got a little bit better at it. 2017 came. During that crash was happening, they got one of my friends, exactly, he knows what he's talking about, right? One of my friends basically, you know, he was way more advanced than me in crypto, right? During that time. And he was like, hey, dude, like, I think you should exit out. Like, I don't like the feeling in the market. I'm like, what do you mean, dude? Like, we're going to the fucking moon. Like, we're there. Like, everything's going great. And thank God I listened to him to a certain extent. I did lose like half of my value of my profits, but at least I walked away with something. A lot of people didn't get that lucky, right? So I walked away with something.
215 is also a very good entry point, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, and at one point I was like, okay, like, let me walk away from this. Like, it kind of scared me because, like I said, I was still new to it in some sense. I was on and off, and I walked away for a little bit. So 2018, I just, you know, was chilling, relaxing, all that stuff, and then 2019 came, and then, you know, Richard Hart came, and the HEXicans came, and then I was like, all right, maybe there's another chance for this. And then COVID came, and a lot of people didn't know.
How did you find him, Richard?
So
yeah, go ahead.
Marco, 1 sec. So you got into crypto 2015, but then you kind of you exited the market like in the same year, yeah?
No, not in the same year. It's not really exit. It's like on and off, right? So the whole year 2015, I really didn't pay attention too much, right? It's more putting my feet to the water, right? Getting my foot wet, right? Like, buying a couple of things here and there, trading certain things. Like, okay, this is kind of cool. It looks like it's working. And then, you know, on and off. 2016, I tried to take it a little bit more serious. I tried to learn from a couple of my buddies and stuff like that. I still didn't know it too much. 2017 is that, you know, that's when everybody was making money. Like, you could buy anything, you made money, right? Like, everything was just skyrocketing. You could literally close your eyes, pick something, you was making it. So I thought I was a genius back then. Like, yeah, I'm a genius. I'm making money. I'm never going to lose. And that's when he hit me like, yo, dude, you need to get out. Like, I think this is going to crash. Something's wrong. I'm like, bro, what do you mean? Like, I'm going to have a Lambo soon. Like, let's go. Like, and then, like, yeah, man. And luckily I listened to him. Yeah. Like, I wish I listened to him sooner, but I would have walked away with a lot more. But at least I walked away enough where I had a decent amount of coins here and there, and I was chilling. And then, like, I 2018, I just, you know, just like backed off. And then, you know, then COVID came around 2019. And, you know, then I found the Richard Hart, and back there, and during that time too, you know, shout out to Teron James. During that time, like, a lot of people know, like, a lot of people give him shit, but there was not many streamers back then, not at all. Like people tend to forget that, right? You really only had a few hundred streamers during that time, 2016, 17, and so on. Like not many people talking about it, especially people my age, right? So I clicked with Trevon. Thank God I enjoyed BitConnect. I was so busy getting scammed somewhere else, I didn't get scammed at BitConnect. You know, I was still doing my internet marketing on the side. I got scammed with Royalty 7, Banners Broker, and some of these other shits that was joining, but I didn't get in BitConnect. But I still respected his game, his hustle. And like I said, he was somebody around my age, right? Like trying to make it in life. And I respect that. You could tell when somebody's a pure hustler. Like, you could tell when somebody they have that drive in them, and you know they're gonna go somewhere sooner or later, right? So I was like, I like this kid. I like what he's saying. So I saw like once in a while he kept on talking about Richard Hart here and there, and a couple of Hex videos, and you know what's to come.
I mean, regarding Trevon, he was super successful, right? But I know him, and I knew his channel, but I was not very much following him. Regarding BitConnect back then, like, was he aware that this is a scam? Because this is the point, right?
So I can only speak about my opinion of what I saw, what I witnessed, right? Because like I said, I was following the guy all the time, right? I didn't join it, but I watched his videos literally like every day, all that stuff. And in my eyes, and just my honest opinion, I don't think he knew how bad of a scam it was, right? Because you have to understand, we were all making crypto. During that time, we were all making money. Like everybody, you could buy anything. And BitConnect really looked legit at one point, right? Like it was the newest, hottest thing. Yeah, you know, we all should have known like the AI trading bot they was claiming all that stuff was bullshit, but it was still new. Nobody knew if it was that was possible or not, right? Like new IPOs, ICOs, everything was happening all over the place, right? New coins coming out, new technology, new this. So you thought like, oh, that's one of the newest legit technologies that was about to be released. You know, you had Tron, you had all these coins, you had Verge. Verge was another great one back then, right? So you had all these things, and I was like, okay, like this guy knows what he's talking about. So I don't think he knew. And I don't think he knew like a lot of, and let's call it real the way it was. I think a lot of people abused him and used him, right? But they saw how successful he was. I'm not mentioning names, but I think they kind of used him as a puppet without him realizing at that moment. And he was a fight. He was like the star. Like he was young. Everybody was watching him. He was really good at BitConnect. He was really good at getting all these people in and stuff like that. And I think when he finally realized, and you could tell in the streams, like, when he kind of feel like something was wrong, his videos started coming out wrong. You could tell his tone of voice was weird. Like his demeanor was weird because he has a certain energy to him, and he could light up the room, the kid, right? And it was all gone, and you could tell like, whoa, something's wrong here. And then that's when it was, I guess he must have realized like, oh shit, something's happening with this, you know? And then bam, he got hit with it. And then of course, back then people were so mad at the market, not only the market, and then plus BitConnect happened, right? And then people, you know, started blaming him for it, right? Yeah. But people have to understand something, right? Like when you are the only, like one of the few people streaming and talking about it, stuff like that, of course you're gonna look the main poncho, right? Because you're the only one really talking about it, and a couple of people. What sucks about it is that you had other influencers that was going way harder than him, that was literally shilling the biggest dream bullshit conversations out there, and they got a slap on the wrist, and Trevon ended up getting like the most heat from it, you know? So I felt bad for that. Like, and even like if you go like, and even Trevon, like if he really looks at it, if he ever goes back to his old videos, I don't know if he deleted it or not. When people was bashing him, I was actually in the comments telling him like, look, dude, you know, you're young, you fucked up and stuff like that, but you're a good dude. Like, keep your head up. And every other day or every other time, I will write these type of messages to him. Just, you know, I don't know if he read it or not. I don't know, right? But I will put these messages because at the end of the day, it's not the kid's fault, right? Like everybody was trying to make it. Everybody believed in everything. You know, I like when I was in intermarket at the same time, I believed in the biggest scams that was happening. Like I felt like it was the best thing ever until you got rug pulled and you're like, what the fuck? Like you don't know. You don't know until you know.
I mean the crucial point, as you mentioned, Marco, is if he knew or not, right? And it seemed to me also, and you also mentioned it, that probably he didn't know, and you nailed it, right? You said like everything looks like the newest shit show. It's it was very so hard to say it's a scam.
So hard.
And where's the difference also to the influencers that were shilling coins that were not directly a Ponzi scheme, but they went to -100 or they rug pulled completely, right? Like there's zero value in it. It's pretty similar, right? Like you lost all your money. So and there were dozens of these influencers. So I'm here on the same page. Like I feel you here in regards of Trevor, and then he was starting to promoting Hex, and this how you found out about
Yeah,
Hex?
so I was seeing like other people start talking about Hex. I saw Hexologists and all these other guys talking about it a little bit. Everybody's getting excited about it, but I was like on and off because he didn't come out with it yet. Richard Hart didn't come out with it. So like, all right, whatever. And I didn't really pay attention too much about it. And then over time, I started learning more about it. And then I went in, and then I went in not huge. And then over time, like after a few months, I went in, and then before Big Payday again, that's when I went really, really heavy. It's like about a month and a half before Big Payday, I went in big time there. And that's when I just like, and during that time, like, during COVID, my wife was a nurse, like we have 2 kids, the world around us going to hell. And, I looked at my wife, I'm like, hey, babe, we got to make one more move, like one more big move. She's like, no, it's too much risk. Like the world's going to shit. We need to protect us. I'm like, babe, I know, but I have a feeling like this is it. Like Hex did well for us throughout the year, throughout that year, it was doing well for us. It looked different from everything else, stuff like that. I'm like, babe, I think this is the one. Like, I really feel like this is the one. This guy is speaking to me. I don't know what it is about Richard Hart. Like, there's something about him that, yes, he could have maybe sound like a scammer the way he's talking here and there, but there's something about him that was completely different from everybody. It was just a certain tone of voice, a certain reasoning,
Right.
I was like, and I looked at my wife, I'm like,
told you,
yeah, man. And something about him, I looked at my wife, I'm like, this is the guy I have to follow. Like, there's something about him I have to follow. Like, this is the guy. She's like, that guy? Like, are you sure? Blah, blah, babe. Look what happened with the other times, blah, blah. I'm like, no, I know, man, but this is the guy. Like, I have to call in. So yeah, man, I cleared out my whole 401k account. I cleared out, my bank account. I cleared out all my other investments. Like I literally threw in like literally like a half of a down payment, like even more than a down payment of a house, all in Hex, just going in and then then I made my stakes, and I did very well on my stakes. Like I don't talk about my backs too much, but I made a couple of different accounts, right? I have one that's more of a passive, having fun type of 1 year all the way to 15-year account, right? Then I made a bunch of accounts. I made 2 beautiful accounts for my kids for 15 years plus. I made an account for my wife, for herself, so she could have her own account, have her own money, and she go shopping, do whatever the hell she wants with it. She deserves it. Yeah. That's my soulmate. And then I made a dream account where everything is just out like 10 plus years type of thing, So, I made multiple accounts, and I have another account that, I just is in between type of thing.
And you stepdad, right?
Yeah. And that's the one that's like more of the family one. So there's one more account I have where like I made a couple of stakes for my brothers, my sisters, they don't really know. So I don't want to say too much about it, right? I want to surprise them, but I made a couple of those accounts for them and stuff like that. And it's I went all in, and I never looked back, man. And then I remember when RG3 made that video, was like warning everybody, double check your stakes, like we're doing it wrong, like stake out, unstake everything and like stake it out longer. I didn't do too many of them because I kind of pushed everything out that far. But then I did emergency unstake a couple of them just to redo it just before Big Payday. I did that. And then I remember when Big Payday happened, and the day after, when the shit dipped to almost like 0.002 almost, I literally called the wick down to, I think it was like 0.003. Yeah. And I threw like another couple of tens of thousands of dollars one more time. And I was like,
you did?
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
Damn.
And during that time, I was telling like a couple of my coworkers when I was working, I was telling a couple of them, like, guys, like, get in. Some did get in under a penny when I did tell them, like, and some to get in under like 0.9. And there was some like I was telling them, like, call them, like, guys, I feel like this shit's gonna dip like the next day after Big Payday. Like, go in. Some listened, and some caught that wick with me, and then a lot of them they didn't. And and guess what? Some of them was about to retire themselves. Thank God, God bless them. And they did very well for themselves. So
it's so cool. Man. I remember the live stream when everybody was wearing their hats, and you actually you were not partying, but you were catching the dips, man. Respect.
Oh, listen, man. Everybody was. I remember when it was happening. Like everybody, I don't know if you know in those videos or the streams, you kind of look at it. Everybody like froze a little bit because I knew everybody was on the computer trying to buy something, because it was like one more shot for that beautiful buy, right? And then it got eaten up so quick. And then whoever ate it, it was like, even if you bought it at 004, 005, like, it's like beautiful. It's like, wow, one more time. And then look what happened after, right? Straight to New Year's, like it just went straight up during December. And then New Year's, I think we hit, what was it? We touched 2 cents really quick.
Yeah.
So it was like, yeah. And funny story, when that happened, like when that happened, the 2 cent thing, like, everybody's partying New Year's, and I had the year was beautiful for me. So me and my wife was planning to go out, go to New Year's, watch the ball drop and everything like that. But we drank, had a little fun, and we went straight to the hotel to have fun. And I kept getting alerts on my phone like we're skyrocketing. Hex is pumping. So me and my wife were having a little fun doing our thing, and it's funny, and like no disrespect, but I ended up throwing her off me because I saw the price reach 2 cents. I'm like, oh, I'm celebrating, like, whoa, oh my god! She's like, what's happening? What happened? What happened? I'm like, oh, baby, we hit 2 cents. Let's go. Let's have another child. Like and then like literally like a couple hours later, it just dropped. I'm like, but and then the next 2-3 months is like we went sideways for a while. So it was a fun journey, man. And then then that's when I got really serious with Hex more, and started watching the streams more, getting familiar with folks, and coming out because you have to say something. I had a little bit of a trust issue, right? I got fucked over in my life multiple times for people I really cared for, and and I put that barrier around me. Like, do I really want to put my face out there? Do I really want to get attached to folks? Because I don't want to get hurt again, right? I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. But there's something about HEXican's, man, and the people I was around and the streams I saw, and I was like, man, these people are really good people, man. Like, these people, they seem genuine. They're different from. Listen, I was part of the Dodge community back then. XRP, Cardano's, Verge, Tron. I dipped my toes in all those communities, but this one was completely different. This felt completely different. I was like,
interesting
guys,
to hear, like, because usually HEXicans are full-time HEXicans and they don't interact much with other communities because maybe you're not a backholder of Cardano, but it's interesting that you were involved in other communities. And
well, I was involved. I was involved before getting into Hex, but once I like touched Hex, I just walked away from everything, right? Because I understand the bullshit, right? I understand, like, you get to know, like, along the way, a lot of these guys are like, yeah, let's make Telegram chats and let Telegram shoots and groups, and you're like, yeah, cool. And then you realize, oh shit, this is just a pump and dump. Like, these motherfuckers are just one big pump and dump. And then that's when I started walking away from everything. And then I found Hex, and I found the community, and I found everybody, and now I was like, this is my safe haven, right? Like,
and
this
Marco,
go ahead.
What because you developed this very high conviction towards Hex, and you sold and you went in, and then after big payday again, so very high conviction. What were the key epiphanies for this high conviction? So you mentioned the people, or what were the drivers?
So at first, it started off with Richard Hart, right? And it's seeing his transition from the first year all the way to the end of the year, how he was doing, the way he was moving, the way he was walking, like his persona, everything about him. I felt like I would believe in him more and more, right? And then it started the community. Then I saw Discord Syndicate, and the F and Hangouts, and other streamers started doing things, and I was like, I like these people. I like these streams, and I like what they're talking about. It doesn't seem like they're money hungry. It doesn't look like they're trying to screw people over. Because listen, I wasn't in marketing. I was around sharks all the time. People that they smell blood, they're going after you instantly. I didn't sense that at all with the community, right? I sense genuine love. I sense a genuine community. And it was shocking because it was confusing. I was like, is this possible? Like, can this really happen? Like, this is weird. These are people on the internet all around each other, and they're really acting like they're really like best friends. And then I fell down the rabbit hole, and I loved it, and I never want to come out of it, right? Like, this community is something special. Like, the people I met, the people I continue to meet online, offline, in person, is validation. Is validation that this matters. Like, what we do matters, and I love it, man. Like, this community, like, I really hope like the next 15 year plus we stay like this or even bigger, because it's beautiful, man. And the different things that people do that don't even announce what they do behind the scenes to help each other out, it's remarkable. I never seen anything like it, So awesome. Yeah, man, it's beautiful, man.
Well said, man.
Yeah, thanks.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Awesome. Yeah, and two important points. First of
all,
of course, because there are many people, and I understand that for some new HEXicans, the dip may be a little bit irritating, right? Nobody likes bear markets, but you just mentioned you just not long time ago you were celebrating like a 1 cent wick, right? And you're getting crazy,
Yeah, man.
And now we are at I don't know 11 or 12 cents, and this is after like a 70-80% dip. So this shows you have to zoom out, be patient.
Yeah, man.
Everything will align.
Yeah, and I brought in, like, I could probably say I brought in hundreds and hundreds of people into Hex, right? Family, friends, strangers, people from older communities that I used to hang around with. And I have them in stage, right? I have like group A, group B, group C, right? And group A went through all the previous dips already, so they understand what to expect and stuff like that, so they don't care what price does. They have group B that recently went through the dips, and they kind of see the power of Hex, but they still worry, they're still skeptical here and there a little bit. They have group C that just recently came in, and this is their first big dip, especially since it's longer, that they freak out here and there. And you got to learn how to talk to each one of those groups differently, and show show like affection, show them that you're here to help them out, like it's going to be okay, like these things do happen, it's a market cycle, like this is markets, and at the end of the day it's markets and markets, like these things are going to happen, dips are going to come, they're going to go, they're going to come, they're going to go. As long as you set yourself straight, you have a plan. That's why I tell folks every time, you have to have a plan. You have to write things down. Like you have to do it, because no matter what the market does, stick to your plan and you're going to be okay. Like Richard Hart always says, the only people who really win is founders and holders, right? Like sooner or later, price will go back up, right? Because everything beats the dollar. Let's just be real, right?
Right,
So
exactly.
as long as you be patient, whether it takes a year to recover, 2 years, 5 years, or 10 years, it doesn't matter. As long as of course it matters time frame for certain people, but as long as you just stay focused and you don't, once you press that sell button, it's over. Like you lost. That's it, right? You just relax and let the market do its thing. Let new money come in, old money come out. Let it do its thing. And if you want to build your bags, you accumulate now. Like this is the best time to buy, right? And just relax and just chill, man. So I know this is gonna sound harsh, right? But I'm not gonna lie to you. I love these fucking big dips. I love these dips, right? Because I learned along the way, like this is when you really make your money. This is where you get to move to the next level, or you triple your bag or drop your bag. Like this is it, like this is the best time. So, I don't mind these type of things.
Absolutely, and we have to also take into consideration that all the fundamentals are still in place. First of all, the product is 100% Hex has 100% uptimes.
Absolutely.
On all fronts. There's no, even the community is super strong. I mean, sometimes there's some drama, but this is
of
life,
course,
right?
It's life. But put it like this, right?
Community.
If we don't have drama in the community, that means the community is not working, right?
Exactly.
Because that means it's family and family fights, right?
It's real.
So if it's all fairy tale, la la lands, and rainbows and sprinkles, something's wrong here. That means every single person is fake and everybody's just yes men, and we're not that. That's not us, Like we're gonna call out bullshit. We're gonna call out each other at times. Sometimes our egos, even including myself, is gonna hit our head. And we have other people to bring you back to cloud nine. Like it's a community, and this is what's beautiful about it.
Absolutely, and what you have to watch is not like the little drama. This is normal. It's life. But look at Vegas, right? Hundreds of people meeting, having good times together. A lot of live streams, a lot of YouTube streams, Twitter space all over the place. So community is still intact, and also Pulse chain is still intact. A lot of good pumpermentals.
I can't wait, man. It's gonna be so crazy.
Yeah, right.
But it's good. This put it this, right? And this is what I tell folks, and this is what I was telling folks in Vegas, and a lot of them was like, they got the aha moment, right? I'm like, guys, this dip was a blessing in disguise, right? Because people don't realize we moved up so fast, too high, too quick. Right? Yeah. We literally went from 7 cents all the way to 52 cents like nothing. And people don't forget that. We skyrocketed so fast. And we look at the tweets and people were saying, like, people like just being outlandish. Oh, that's it. It's over. We're going to go straight to $2, $3, this, that. Oh, I'm about to quit my job right now. I'm this, I'm that. I'm going to buy a Lambo. I'm going to do this. And this was like a good punch to the face to everybody. Like, hey, reality is still reality. Like, slow it down. And you know why it's good? Because it makes everybody to be genuine again. Be truthful to themselves, understand like this bigger picture, and it makes everybody to be prepared again. Because I think if we would have kept on pumping and then Pulse chain would have came out, I think a lot of people would have got wrecked. A lot of people would have been too reckless with their money. Now people made smarter decisions. Some, the dips make you think twice about things, about selling and buying and spending and all that stuff. It was like training us, So let's be real. When Pulse chain comes out, everything goes, green light goes. A lot of people are going to make tons. And when I mean tons of money, I'm talking about generational type of wealth at times, and this is like one big training for those people, one more stop before you hit the mega load. And even myself, I needed that. Right. So I think it was a blessing in disguise, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. Very, very well said.
Yeah. We need these things.
Did you listen to the recent Twitter space with Richard Hart?
Oh yeah, I got so hyped in that one, man.
Yeah, it was so good, right?
There's a couple of things he said that I think we all took it out of context, but it's a little bit thing. But Richard's a funny one, right? I noticed since I've been watching Richard since I first learned about him. He talks, but he talks in two different ways. He talks and he talks in encrypted language, and what I mean by that is he'll say something and he'll say it in a certain way that might mean something. And only people that really understand or kind of catch what he says, kind of understands what he says, or certain ways he tweets. He's someone that's like that, right? So at the end of the day,
Right.
it's like you could tell, and it's perfect what this guy said. Like he's training whales, he's training dolphins. Like he plays with people's minds just to see their level of intelligence, right? And at one point, like he's talking to the guy that couldn't really speak English, and he's kind of yelling at the guy. He's like, "Yeah, the coins, and you're not gonna get the coins now. Blah blah, it's testnet, blah blah, this and that." He's like, "You'll get your coins, your copies in a few weeks when mainnet comes out." So he says something in those type of lines. So my eyes lit up. Of course, we don't know if it'll come out in a few weeks.
Right,
It could be 2
Now
months
I
or whatever.
remember.
But when he did that, like everybody was like, "Oh shit, did he meant to say that? Was it by mistake? Was it not?" Because let's be real, right? I can't speak for Richard. I would never would, right? But there's really almost nothing left to build. Like everything looks like it's basically done.
Yeah,
right?
and it wouldn't be surprising because maybe you remember. I mean, software is hard and it's very hard to predict the launch date. But even back then, when we were sacrificing in June or July, I think we all were expecting the launch to happen maybe in December. A couple of months.
Yep.
That was the rumor. So 6 months later, or 5 months later, in April, May, it would be quite acceptable, right? If we launch very soon, in a couple of weeks, I wouldn't be surprised.
Like I think people don't realize, like, Richard Hart, I think at first Pulse-Chain was going to come out really fast and really soon, right? Because at one point, I don't know if people understand when he was building Pulse-Chain. At first, it was just a platform just for hexagons. That's it, just to solve the gas fees, right? And then he made a couple of more streams. I guess he might have thought about it more. He's like, wait a minute, what if I just do the whole system state, right? Let's do something different. Then he released about the whole system state idea and all that stuff. I remember he never talked about Pulse X or doing exchange right away.
Right.
Like he focused more on Pulse-Chain. Then he started noticing the bullshit other exchanges started doing, all that stuff. It's like along the way people was messing up, and then he was finding ways to fix it. And then he just started making Pulse-Chain bigger and bigger and better and all that stuff. And then when we thought Pulse-Chain was going to come out, then he surprised us with Pulse X, right? I don't ever think he even thought about Pulse X at all, right? So he's building a whole ecosystem right now, and that what delays things, and stuff like that. So I think Pulse-Chain could have came out definitely a long time ago, but it would have been as good as it's going to be. No, I think it would have been just for hexagons. It would have been just a way we could come on and off, and that's it. But he made it to something special, and I'm glad. Listen, I want Pulse-Chain to be out yesterday, right? Not even today, yesterday. But it's okay, right? Like when it comes out, it's going to be monstrous. It's going to be the best thing ever. It's going to be phenomenal. And I trust Richard Hart, right? Like no expectation of work of others, but I know this damn genius is going to pull a rabbit out of a hat, and everybody's going to be surprised, So it's going to be great.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%.
Thank you, Chase. I appreciate that. I appreciate that comment.
Yeah, Marco, I think the people are loving you in the chat.
I appreciate it, man. I love chat, man. And then one thing,
I've been saying you're a good storyteller as well.
I appreciate it, man. All my life I've been speaking to people, right? I was always been a salesman, and I always heard stories, and I've been through stories, and I've seen people's stories. So it's beautiful. And then you have people like Richard Hart, beautiful, like the way he talks, the way he intellects himself, the way he holds himself, like. Even I try to adapt that, right? Like the guy is a genius. Like he's truly a genius, And then you have.
I think you are a good judge of character with all you went through. The hardship and
trust me.
The friend that betrayed you.
Yeah, I got scammed a lot. So you could tell, like my spider sense. I think I developed my sixth sense, right? Like I could kind of feel like something's wrong here. Like this person or this environment or this group I'm in, something's wrong here. Like I need to back off, And I went through that, and I kind of sensed that. And when I do that, I don't think twice. Like I back off, Right. And I always tell myself this, like, I always repeat this to myself, like, I would never let the next man decide the next 3 seconds of my life. I would let money control me too. I would never let it happen, right? Because nobody's gonna be able to buy me, guys. Like I don't have the biggest bag out there, but I have a bag, right? I have generational wealth type of bag, and I'm gonna make sure I have it, I attain that, and I stay by that. Shout out to Ryan Lopez, right? Like I'm gonna make sure, I don't care how much people try to offer me or behind the scenes stuff like that. It's a no. Like you're not gonna buy me, you're not buying my influencing, you're not buying all that. Like You're only gonna win me by your heart and your friendship. You want to buy me with your friendship. That's all I care about,
Awesome.
right? If you cannot give me
Nice.
friendship, walk away, because I'm not interested, right? Like I have the money I need.
Yeah,
I have the friends
you're
I have.
basically
Like,
independent, right?
yes,
Like,
exactly. Like exactly. You know,
nice.
I'm not charged. I'm not part of no stream. I'm not part of anything, right? Like it's just me. I'm just me. You know. So, you know, there's a book I read and I always share it in different streams. You know, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I read that like a million times.
Which
And
one?
there's
Sorry, can you repeat, please?
the Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Napoleon Hill. Okay.
Yeah, it's a book I read since I was childhood to now, and you know, one of the biggest secrets in that book that people don't realize is something called your mastermind group, right? It's a group of people, gentlemen or women, doesn't matter, that you guys could relate, connect with, almost more than family, right? They're like a type of breed of people that that you could go to, whether you meet up once a year, once a month, it doesn't matter. You guys meet up, you push everything away in life, and you go and you guys see each other's life. See, oh, nice, Marty. Very good book. And you guys judge each other, where you guys at, what path you are, how far you're gonna go. Basically, it's like you all each other's mentors, brothers and sisters, right? Like you make sure nobody gets left behind. You make sure you guys elevate each other. So if we meet up 3 months later and we feel like, they say Bob is falling behind, well, we're gonna dedicate the next month to make sure Bob is okay. You know, that's a mastermind group. That's the richness of life, right? Because if you could have a group like that, no matter what life throws at you, you're gonna be fine. And honestly, I'm gonna say this:
Yeah.
HEXican is my mastermind group. I found my mastermind group. I found people that at any given moment I could pick up a phone call and get the right answer, the right advice, the right judgment. If I'm feeling alone, if I feel lonely or I feel troublesome or I feel like, you know, something, I know I can make a call to the right person. You know, if I need financial advice, I know who I could call. If I need love advice, I know who I could call. If I want to party, have fun, I know who I could call. That's your mastermind group, right? Is a connecting of certain people that you could fully trust their judgment and you know they're going to give you the best they can. So, oh, Napoleon Hill, man. Listen, I'm glad I'm born at this age at this time, but I wish I was born around that time when Napoleon Hill was around. Like, I'm a gentleman at heart. I wish I could walk around with those top hats and those canes and walk around and, you know, like walk like a gentleman. I wish I was born around that time, right?
And Marco, for our viewers out there, the book is called Think and Grow Rich. Did I understand correctly?
Yep. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. He has another book that one of the other books. He has a few books. Another book of his, it was The Law of Success. Was one of my other favorite books of his I used to read. That was a really good one. Another good book, if people care to read books, another one that really changed my mind, the way I think, is called Psycho-Cybernetics, right? By Maxwell Maltz, I think his name is. And that was a really good book too. That really reprograms your mental brain and how to think differently. It's like a hack of your mind, and that's something that helped me talk and walk the way I do and stuff like that. Like my thing is
cybernetics,
like a psycho, right? A psycho-cybernetics. Psycho meaning mind, right? And cybernetics is, you know, like hacking, like cyber, you know. And so, you know, my thing is this. Yes, I do have my GED. I dropped out of high school early, all that stuff. I'm a reader at heart, right? Like one of my most precious things at home is my mini. I don't have a huge library, but I have a particular library that each book is a journey of my life that made an impact.
Yeah.
And, you know, I have a nice literary library book, and you know, when I do make it big one day, and when I have my huge house and all that stuff in the future, and all that stuff, I'm gonna have a dedicated room just of my own library. I'm gonna build it, you know, and I want to make sure I pass that on to my kids. So, yeah, man, it's good books to read.
Awesome.
Nice,
Thanks
man.
for the
Awesome.
recommendations.
Yeah, no worries, man.
I will check them.
It's great. It's a great book. And you know, it's one thing about that book, Think and Grow Rich, is this, right? And I tell people this every time. Once you read it, you should read it once a year minimum. Because I promise you, promise you, you're gonna read it once from front, back, up, and down. And next year you're gonna read it, and it's gonna look a whole different book to you. Because there's gonna be certain things you just never caught that you're gonna catch. And because life happens, right? And you mature in life and you read differently, all that stuff. And then a year later, another thing. That's why, like, I think in about 2 months is my anniversary when I read the book again, right? It's during the summertime, usually June, July, I like to read it again. So I'm excited to read the book again to see where I'm at in my mindset when I read the book. I know I'm going to be laughing and giggling the time when I read it again, because I'm like, I get it now. You know, I found my mastermind group. So it's going to be a little celebration for me.
Awesome. I will definitely check it out. And it reminds me a little bit of when you rewatch very good movies like Matrix 1, and then you find some details that you missed when you watched it last time. So Yeah, pretty
Anyway,
cool.
yeah.
Pretty
And
cool.
what Chase says, yeah, he does have an audio version too, and he does have like it's like old school version of reading. The way he talks. Let me tell you something. The way people talk back then. Oh my God, I could listen to these guys like Andrew Carnegie, Zig Ziglar, Napoleon Hill, like all those type of guys. Like I could listen to these guys all day, every day, because the way they speak, people don't speak like that anymore, right? These guys, they're very selective of their wording, their sentences, their punctuation, their vocabulary. Like they're very particular how they speak. They speak like gentlemen, and it is awkward. Like it is pretty weird. But it's like, man, like that's cool to talk like that. Like I wish I could speak like that. Like it's awesome, you know. And when
Nice.
you hear these guys, like you see when you hear the way they talk, and like motivation people back then and now, two different people. You could tell like most people now are doing it for the money. People back then did it really for the knowledge and for the livelihood of men, right? For mankind, and it's pretty cool, man.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing
Yeah,
these
definitely.
Yeah, thank you, man. That's really
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
And if I may ask a question,
Yeah, of course.
Marco, when we
Absolutely.
started this conversation, we were talking about Las Vegas and how
Yeah.
these people that you met gave you a big push,
Yeah.
like they energized you. And now looking forward into the future, and you're an independent man. What will you do? What are the projects you're onto? Where we will see you?
Sure. So I don't want to announce it too much yet because I'm still waiting on certain equipment. So I'm planning to do my own channel, right? I won't release the name yet. On YouTube, that's correct. Right.
Mhm.
And my channel is mostly going to be, so back then I used to always work on apparel. I used to like work on leather, wood, stuff like that. I like working with my hands, right? So I want to make a YouTube channel that it's going to be all about crypto, but while I'm doing crypto, I'm making hats, I'm making shirts, I'm making things out of wood, out of leather.
Crafting,
Yeah, crafting basically, right? And make it different, because everybody's sitting in front of the camera, so why not do something interacting with the chat, right? So not only I'm going to be making that, I might have my own little shop. Guys, this doesn't change anything. Go to hexmerch.com, go to all these other websites. They're going to build 99.9% things that I would never make or build. So go get your stuff over there. But if you want like unique little things that's made personally by me, that cool, you could buy it from me. That's up to you, right? But end of the day, that's funny. But end of the day, like, so I'm gonna make that type of channel, right? Education from beginning to immediate to advanced type of things.
Awesome.
Right? Something's outside of Hex, but mostly about Richard Hart's ecosystem, right? But I do want to build a community, right? To bring people outside of Hex, inside Hex. But I also want my channel to be more of a marketing channel for other channels. And what I mean by that is this. So a lot of people don't know I love doing super chats, right? I think I spent over 10K last year alone in super chats, right?
Nice.
But there's only so much effective that could do, right? So I thought about it. I'm like, all right, what can I do to make things better that could help out the channel plus the chat, right? I'm like, okay, why not? Maybe I pick a channel maybe once or every 2 weeks. I pick a channel that I feel like is doing very well for Hex in the community and all that stuff, and I donate maybe 5 hats, 5 shirts, and whatever I'm going to make. And I'm like, look, at no cost, this is yours. You don't even need to market or say it's for me. This is for you, right? Give it to your chat. Do giveaways, do contests, do engagement type of things. Because I noticed when you give somebody, when somebody wins something, instead of them buying it, it's more meaningful for them. They feel like it's pride for them, and they walk around their neighborhoods. They're willing to wear it and share it and talk about it. So I'm like, okay, let me do this. Let me make something where, I can make a couple of bucks on the side for myself, but I just open my own little shop here and there. It's not about the money. I don't need the money, right? But I was like, what else can I use that to impact? So I'm like, all right, I want to be a marketing channel. I want to be able to just, if there's events, hey guys, here's 30, 40, 50, here's 100 hats I'm going to give. No, don't pay me nothing. Here it goes. Here's a bunch of shirts. Here's a bunch of this. Here's a bunch of that. And just do giveaways, guys. Do this, spread the word, Another thing I'm going to be doing is so in New York City, there's always like guys and groups that are always breakdancing. They're all over the place, right? And these guys are really good at marketing themselves, right? And the way they do things is like, they literally, it's called showtime. They break dancing, all that stuff. And they could gather like a crowd of 50 to 30 to 100 people instantly, right? And I'm like, why not sponsor these guys, right? Why not pull them to the side? Like, hey, listen, I appreciate what you guys do, stuff like that. Do you mind maybe if I pay you, I don't know, $200 a month or whatever it is? But my only ask is you wear this shirt or this hat, and it's Hex hat, Hex logo, whatever it is, stuff like that, and, to sponsor them, So, when people are when these guys are dancing, people are like giving, the tips and the jars and all that stuff. They what subliminally messaging, they don't realize they're seeing the Hex logo or the Pulse Chain logo or the Pulse X logo. So I was thinking about doing that all around New York City and stuff like that, and spread the word of Hex and stuff like
Nice.
that. So
That's
just
awesome.
yeah, I was
Great
just thinking about
potential. Also, the
yeah,
crafting,
yeah,
I watch them sometimes to wind down,
yeah,
before I
exactly,
go to sleep. Like
yeah,
someone does something and is really good at it with wood, or for example,
yeah,
it's pretty nice. So it's got good onboarding potential, plus
yeah,
the giveaway sponsoring,
yeah,
plus maybe you can implement the NYC.
yeah,
It's a cool stuff for me as a European. I love to go to that city. I can't go too often, obviously, but
yeah.
it's a special thing. It got this vibe and
Yeah, and then
interesting
I
thing.
met a HEXican too, or her name is Georgia. That if I'm not mistaken, I think her country, I think it's Argentina. I think, and she was telling me that her family, like EA Sports and all that type of things, like the big gaming industry and the tournaments and all that stuff. Well, they did something similar to in that country, but of course that's a third world country, so the kids they're not very, they're not really. How you say it? They're not really living like how kids are living, in our countries and stuff. So, but they're really, really good at gaming, all that stuff. So she was telling me like, just to sponsor these kids or the whole team is only like about $2,000 a month. And I'm like, oh shit, that's it. She's like, yeah, that's including the coaching, the material, the clothing, the sponsorship, everything the kids will ever need in the group, stuff like that. I'm like, oh man, I know a bunch of OGs that will easily donate, a few $100s here and there that we could all do to sponsor kids like that. So you never know. You by doing that, these kids can get good, and the eyes, the world catches their eyes, and you never know where they end up being. So it's like there's
Yeah,
different ways of marketing. You got to think outside the bit, the box and stuff like that. So
yeah.
you never know,
And
and
you
you never
support your local sports
exactly,
club, your
exactly,
local football kids club or something,
exactly,
right?
right? Even
It
that,
got
right?
me thinking.
Yeah, yeah, even that, right? Like it's simple, right? You go to any school. Hey, question: who's sponsoring you guys? Oh, nobody. Well, how much that cost? Well, for this season, it costs $500. Come on, $500 for most of us is really nothing, right? Money's money. Don't get me wrong, but 500, 1,000, whatever it is, you'd be surprised how much these kids they light up when they see new jerseys and new this, and
Right.
they see like people sponsoring
With
them.
nice color gradients.
Yeah, and exactly, right? Looking the best out there. And then not only
Yeah.
that, but then what if the whole community is on social media cheering them on and stuff like that? It makes the kids feel like superstars already, right? Like you never
Yeah,
know
true.
what people go through. And then we go back to the original topic of this conversation. You never know what somebody's going through. You never know the journey they went through. You don't know if those kids going home hungry or they're dealing with stuff like I dealt with and stuff like that. And to see
Right.
like a different community, showing love and showing appreciation and showing, passion to them, you never know what it could do. So that's my goal, right? Is to just,
Nice.
it's gonna take time, but to spread my wings and try to help in as many people as I can, and wherever the way God helped me out, I want to help out others. So it's gonna
This is
take
what
time,
it's
but
all about. Like
yeah,
this, I see you have a lot of like you could call them like grassroots projects, like
yeah,
here and
exactly,
there. Really nice. We are big fans of
exactly,
this kind of initiatives.
yeah. So basically, yeah, that's my next steps. And like I said, I'm waiting for a couple of more machines. I bought a couple of them. I have my hat press, my heat press. I'm waiting for I'm buying this huge big laser. I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for a couple of things to finally come in. And once it does, I'm gonna be kicking it because you know me, I love making my hats. I love all my stuff. So everybody, like literally every single day, I get messages. Where you get your damn hat? Like I want to buy one from you. I'm like, guys, soon, soon, soon. I'm just waiting. A lot of these machines, when you order, you gotta wait a month or two to get it. So I'm just waiting for them to come in. And once they come in, I'm gonna just rock and roll and start taking off.
Awesome. This idea is so cool. I'm really excited about your channel, Marco. So I
Yeah,
hope it will
and
launch
it's
soon.
gonna
I will
take time,
definitely
and
stream it.
when it comes out, I'll get better and better. And of course, maybe the community they could they could request a top certain project we can make. Hey, why don't you make a hex panel out of wood? Let's do it together. All right, chat. Let's do it together. Let's see how this works, and let's do it live. Like it's fun. It's engaging.
Yeah.
We're still learning about crypto, but it's a break from the regular nonstop talking that we usually do. Sometimes you need a break from that too. So,
Right.
do I expect it to be a huge, big channel? No, I'm just honestly, dude. Like, I'm retired, but when I say retired, meaning I'm retired from the regular 9 to 5 working under demand, right? Now I
Nice.
get to actually choose my way to do 9 to 5. And you know what? I want to do it that way, right? I want to spend time
Amazing.
doing a hobby on the side for the community, for myself, for my kids, and something that's fun, to keep me sane, keep me grounded. Because if not, then I don't want to fall for that trap that, oh, I'm bored, so let me just spend money. Let me go buy a Lambo. Let me buy
Right.
this. Let me buy that. I don't want to do that. I don't want that life right now, right? I want it to be enjoy my common life still. I want to enjoy. I just want to chill, man. Like I don't need a fancy life now. Like I don't need that. I just want to be able to chill with my folks, my family, the community, and just enjoy this journey. Like, let's just rock out, let's have fun. So
Nice.
that's what I want to
Awesome.
do. Yeah,
And
man.
with all
Yeah.
this energy, you're even more productive for the community, for the world. So it's not like
Yeah,
you're retired and, as you mentioned, just chill. But now
exactly.
you do even better, and you enjoy
Exactly.
it even more. So
Now
it's perfect.
I'm not restricted to, if I want to jump on a stream, I get to just jump on a stream. If I want to, visit somebody or visit a different state, I get to, hey babe, listen, next week I'm going to visit this state. They want to do a gathering, and if we plan it ahead of time, I could go do that now. I don't need to go and bargain and beg my boss or make deals and stuff like that. Like, I don't need to do any of that stuff anymore, and I could do what I got to do. And, I'm glad, God bless, this community is able to let me achieve this. Richard Hart was able to achieve this. And, thanks for the comment, and most of all, thank you for my wife and my kids, right? Like, they dealt with the stuff I had to go through. And
Mm,
especially my wife, like, that's my soulmate. Like, I don't care how much money I'll make in my life. Like, she ain't going nowhere, man. I'm gonna give this woman the world that she never seen before, so,
amazing.
yeah, and it's
She
been a
always
fun journey.
supported you also during
Yeah,
rough
man.
times.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like, let's be like, people don't know the true story. So my wife is, she's Chinese. She was born in China. She came to America at 6 years old. I met her at elementary school at 8 years old, right? But I didn't really speak to her, but I knew because we was in one of the classes. At 14 years old, we started dating. Ever since then, we never looked back. And we have 2 kids,
Wow,
so
that's amazing.
it's crazy, right? Like, somebody who's born
Yeah.
across the world, like total opposite sides of the world, came, and now they have 2 kids and this journey together.
Amazing.
So she deserves the world, man, and I'm going to give it to her. So
Awesome. That's beautiful, man.
That's also the American dream, right?
yeah,
And
right.
then
That
with
is the American dream, right?
effort
Exactly.
and passion, you make it, and you both together. That's awesome.
I like that you said that, right? What's the new common American dream nowadays, right? Back then it was like, get a corporate job, get a nice this and this and that. Well, what's my
Right.
American dream? I found a wife that I could truly love. I have 2 beautiful kids, and I found a community that I could really say this is family. And I enjoy every moment with them. Even when I fight with them, I enjoy it.
Yeah.
And this is my American dream. This is my mastermind group. This is life. And I go back and I go say, and I think about, like, that day where I said, like, dude, like, a voice spoke to me to tell me, like, hey, hang in there. I see why. And I'm thankful for that, right? Like, I'm
Mm.
glad I didn't take up my life. I'm glad I didn't do what I do, because I would have missed out on all this,
Mm.
especially my 2 beautiful kids and my wife. So I'm grateful for that. And that's why when people talk about things like that, I get so passionate about it. I'm like, yeah, no, dude, how you feel? No. Hey, meet me here. Let's talk. Because there's more to life than you think. Life might suck the next 2 years, but you never know where the next 5-10 years it could change for you. So, you know, life is a blessing, and we're lucky.
Absolutely. That's
Absolutely.
beautifully said. And I think this is a good ending point here. You have to
Yeah.
finish when it's the best, man.
We close the circle.
Amazing.
Yeah, man, it's beautiful, man, and it's a beautiful journey. And and what's the best part about this is we have 15 plus years of doing this together, and all of us,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you never know who we're gonna speak to, where we're gonna be. It's beautiful, so.
Yeah. And good that we get to know each other, because
It's
we be
just the
seeing each
beginning.
other. Yeah.
It's like David Vida said, when we hit 1 cent, it's just the beginning.
It's just a beginning, man. Like, look, man, like, don't get me wrong. Like, when we hit 52 cents, I was excited. Don't get me wrong, right? But honestly, I had to give no 2 shits about that, right? Because in my heart and my soul, no financial advice, I truly feel we're going to hit 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and so on and so forth down the road, right? So what the hell is sense to us when we're going to be breaking it? Like Richard Hart said, what's 10 cents to on the way to $100, guys? Like, relax, chill. We're in a beautiful community. We're in a beautiful
Yeah.
product.
Enjoy life.
We have a huge ecosystem. 99.9% of crypto cannot say that. We got this. Like, we could do this.
Yeah.
100%.
And one sentence from me, you said it. You can be staked and you can chill because you're staked.
Yeah.
And then you can focus your energy on net positive things, like
Yeah.
try to build, try to craft, try to make positive relationships, eat healthy.
Absolutely.
You're staked, you can be chilled, but then do something. You got to
Yeah.
take action. Just like in Hex, you got to mint, you got to take action.
Exactly.
And it will be nice one day because you did it. You took the action, you minted, you did it yourself. And then once you're chill because you're staked, also in other parts do it just like that. be proud and enjoy taking action and try to make the best of it.
You got it, man. That's what else? If we can't do that, then why does this matter, right? Like, you hit it right at the nail, man. Good job.
Yeah, man. Thank you. It was awesome talking to you. I really enjoyed this. And as one guy said, you're an amazing storyteller. So
You guys are silly.
yeah. Some guys,
that,
you know, you gotta find these question, keep the conversation going. But man,
Yeah.
you were popping these stories and deep talks. So
I appreciate it, man.
hats off. That
really
was
cool,
awesome.
man. This is all what Grassroots is about. So
Yeah,
we really
man.
appreciate it, Marco, and it's great to have you in the community, man.
I appreciate it. Gentlemen, I just want to say this, right? Like, honestly, yeah, I see these streams, I see these interviews, and I'm like, okay, cool. It's just going to be another talking thing. And it's fun. Gentlemen, thank you. I really want to thank both of you because, it's like you bring me back from, up from Cloudline down, and, you made me a little bit emotional in this stream, and it made me have a reflection of life and what I went through in my journey now. And it was cool, man. I appreciate that. Thank you. That was cool.
Thank you. That means a lot to us. Hearing
that was
it from
cool.
you.
Yes,
Thank you, Marco.
it does. Thank you.
Yeah.
And see you around once
Yeah,
again.
man. And like, hey, whenever you want me on or you guys want to just, talk and chill, whatever, just hit me up, man. I'm always open, guys. I don't care what anybody says. I don't consider myself a celebrity in the community. I'm just like everybody else. Hit me up, DM me, talk. You want somebody to talk to, hit me up, man. Like, it is what it is. I enjoy company. I enjoy
Yes.
talking to folks. So,
Absolutely.
in
We
Vegas,
will.
I was telling people like get over here, like stop, like stop being shy, like come over here, let's talk, like let's have a
Yeah.
good time. Like that's who I am, man. And I
Yeah,
don't change for
hopefully
nobody.
also a beer live together one day.
Oh hell yeah, dude! Like that'd be great, man. So we have plenty of years ahead of us. So I know what will happen. So don't worry about that.
Awesome.
Cool, man. Thanks again, Marco. We see
Pleasure.
we see you around.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Bye. Thanks,
Everyone,
bro.
thank you. Chat, thank you.
All right, guys. This was a pretty intense Hex Grassroots stream. I think this is what Grassroots is all about. Marco the HEXican, our special guest today. He grew up in Brooklyn, had to deal with a lot of stuff right from the beginning, from a young age. He had to hustle a lot. Even at one point, he was homeless, but he never gave up. He fought hard. He had an enlightenment, as he mentioned, that brought him back on track. Then he became a very successful salesman. He was a self-taught internet marketing expert. Got successful here as well before he got into crypto in 2015. Started to get into a new sector here. Was playing with different ideas, following different YouTubers. Finally found out about Hex. He really loves the community. He contributes a lot to the community. Ever since he stick to Hex and became even more successful. So it's a great story that he shared today with us. It's pretty intense, and we appreciate it. This was Hex Grassroots number 21 with your hosts Meister Hex, Hex Misha, and our special guest Marco the HEXican. And we see you on the next episode. Bye, guys.
Bye.